The story opens with a tense scene inside the Senate Armed Service Committee. Retired Army officer Theodore Hayes is being interviewed for the prestigious position of Secretary of the Navy. The topic of discussion: the limited role of women in the Navy. Hayes tries to defend the Navy's stance, arguing that the restrictions placed on women are for their own good. But before he can finish, Senator Lilian DeHaven, a sharp and determined woman from Texas, interrupts him. DeHaven is clearly not impressed by Hayes' excuses. She pulls out a classified document called the Lark Report and drops a bombshell. The report contains shocking statements from high-ranking Navy officials, portraying women as incompetent and unfit for combat roles. DeHaven's bold move exposes the deep-seated misogyny within the Navy, sending shockwaves through the room. The explosive hearing leads to a secret meeting between the Navy and Senator DeHaven. The Department of Defense, DoD officials, aren't thrilled about the idea of integrating women into their ranks. To make sure they can maintain the status quo, they propose a seemingly fair plan. If a woman can pass the Navy's toughest program, the Combined Reconnaissance Team, CRT training, they'll allow her to serve. But there's a catch. The CRT program is notorious for its difficulty, with most candidates dropping out during the infamous Hell Week. The DoD is confident no woman could survive this grueling training, setting the stage for an epic challenge. Senator DeHaven agrees to their trap, knowing that even if the plan fails, the buzz around the program will boost her political career. The focus shifts to Lieutenant Jordan O'Neill, a highly skilled topographic analyst working at a naval control room. O'Neill proves her brilliance by navigating a SEAL team through a dangerous war zone, earning respect for her sharp mind. Unbeknownst to her, her life is about to change. Meanwhile, Senator DeHaven is searching for the perfect woman to enter the CRT program. After rejecting several candidates, she zeroes in on O'Neill, impressed by her physical and academic achievements, as well as her traditionally feminine appearance. DeHaven wants O'Neill to show that women don't need to be masculine to succeed in the Navy. Later that day, O'Neill receives an unexpected call to meet with Senator DeHaven. In the senator's office, O'Neill is presented with the opportunity of a lifetime to be the first woman to attempt the Navy's toughest training program. If she succeeds, she'll open the doors for other women to follow in her footsteps. Excited yet nervous, O'Neill returns home to discuss the idea with her fiancé, Lieutenant Commander Royce Harper. But Royce is far from enthusiastic. He warns her about the physical and mental challenges she'll face, as well as the hostile environment of male soldiers. To make matters worse, he's worried about how their relationship will survive if O'Neill is deployed for extended periods. This sparks tension between the couple, but O'Neill is determined to prove herself. A few days later, O'Neill arrives at the CRT training center, where she's immediately treated differently. The commanding officer assigns her a separate room, away from the male trainees. News quickly spreads that a woman has joined the program, and the men are not happy. When O'Neill shows up in the mess hall for dinner, she's met with glares and nasty remarks. The atmosphere is tense, but O'Neill keeps her head high, determined to show she belongs. The next day, the real test begins. The commanding officer gathers the recruits and emphasizes that this program is the toughest challenge they'll ever face. He doesn't mince words, reminding them that many of them will quit before Hell Week even starts. O'Neill throws herself into the brutal physical and mental challenges. Despite the relentless pressure, the punishing drills, and the hostility from her male peers, O'Neill keeps pushing forward. Every day is a battle, and every obstacle seems designed to break her spirit. But she refuses to quit. driven by the desire to prove that women are just as capable as men. The climactic Hell Week arrives, a relentless 5-day ordeal designed to test every recruit's endurance. O'Neill pushes through exhaustion, pain, and physical punishment, while many of the male recruits begin to drop out one by one. Her perseverance is inspiring, and even some of her doubters start to gain respect for her. But the true test comes when the Command Master Chief singles her out for extra punishment, believing she'll finally break. O'Neill endures grueling physical tasks, verbal abuse, and impossible challenges, yet she continues to fight, proving that she's stronger than anyone expected. As the infamous Hell Week begins, the trainees are plunged into a series of back-breaking drills and physically exhausting tests. They have little food, barely any sleep, and are subjected to freezing water exercises. O'Neill is treated no differently, but her male peers constantly make her feel like an outsider. The bell stands ominously in the training yard, waiting for those who wish to quit. O'Neill is determined not to give in. Her small act of defiance, hiding a piece of bread during a food exercise, keeps her awake through a mentally challenging essay test. As the hours pass, many soldiers drop out, but O'Neill pushes through, earning the grudging respect of some trainees, though the majority still remain cold toward her. After surviving the brutality of Hell Week, O'Neill faces even more obstacles, including a sexist command structure that doesn't want her to succeed. She makes a bold decision to shave her head and move into the male dormitory to demonstrate her commitment to being treated equally. Command Master Chief Gale doesn't take kindly to her boldness, but O'Neill's transformation and sheer willpower begin to break down the barriers of bias. As time passes, her physical strength grows, and so does her resolve. She even begins outperforming some of her male counterparts, leading to more resentment, but also growing respect. The media gets wind of her progress, dubbing her G.I. Jane, though her real identity remains secret. The final test for the trainees is the intense SERE training. They are dropped into hostile terrain and must complete the mission while evading capture. The stakes are real. Anyone caught is treated as a prisoner of war. O'Neill's leadership comes into play when several of her teammates ignore her orders, leading to disastrous consequences. She, too, is captured during the mission and subjected to brutal torture by none other than Gale himself. His methods are extreme, pushing O'Neill to her physical and emotional limits. However, she fights back and refuses to quit, despite the pain. Her resilience not only earns the respect of her teammates, but even of Gale, who begins to see her as a true soldier. Just as O'Neill passes the SERE training, she is hit with another blow. Anonymous photos of her and fellow female officers surface, hinting at inappropriate relationships and threatening her position in the program. The source of the sabotage is none other than Senator DeHaven, who was using O'Neill's success for political leverage. Heartbroken but not defeated, O'Neill rings the bell, signaling her withdrawal from the program. However, upon discovering DeHaven's betrayal, O'Neill confronts her. Unafraid of the senator's power, O'Neill threatens to expose the manipulation to the media. With her integrity intact, she returns to the training camp, welcomed back by her fellow soldiers, who now see her as a leader. The final training exercise is abruptly interrupted by an emergency. An observation satellite containing weapons-grade plutonium has fallen into the Libyan desert, and the CRT trainees are dispatched on a real-world mission to assist the Army Rangers. In a high-stakes battle, O'Neill proves her tactical genius, rescuing Master Chief Gale after he gets separated from the team. Under fire, and in the chaos of the mission, O'Neill's leadership shines through. She organizes a successful extraction and helps complete the mission, earning the respect of all involved. Her efforts lead to the successful recovery of the satellite, and she and her fellow trainees are accepted into the CRT program. In the final moments of the story, O'Neill's journey comes full circle. Command Master Chief Gale, now fully respecting her, presents her with his Navy Cross and a book of poetry containing D.H. Lawrence's Self-Pity. It is a symbolic gesture that acknowledges her incredible strength, determination, and leadership. O'Neill's victory is not just personal, it's a win for women everywhere, proving that gender is no barrier to excellence in the military. Despite the obstacles, betrayals, and extreme physical demands, G.I. Jane rises as a symbol of resilience, courage, and equality.